Okay, I want to take a look at this video on Fox News with Colonel McGregor, retired, uh, because a lot of these thoughts are what I was thinking beforehand, but it was finding kind of hard to put in words, and he seems to have more knowledge about the issue. I mean, because we should have found a way to avert this with sitting down better with Putin, being patient with Russia, seeing their concerns, uh, instead of ignoring calls to meet together or glossing over lightly their concerns. So the video itself is excellent. The best politician in America, namely myself, bar none, agrees with the colonel here. This is as I've thought. I've had it in mind that the USA needed to sit down and seed things, whatever in the hell it takes in this particular situation, to avoid needless war in the Ukraine region. But the USA or other places even held off in a kind of one-way mindset about things, not much considering that there is more than just one possible way to be right. Sometimes it is better to avoid massive war if it can be met with an agreement, even one disagreeable to the sides involved, so that great injustice and conflict and harm does not befall a country, a peace-loving people, for example. This needed to be tried more, better, more involved, more focused on, more of bringing minds to bear on the issues, so stupidity and unjust aggression and conflict are not the result. So I do agree with this video, and I do agree with what the colonel's saying here a lot. We're of the same mind a lot about these issues, the details of which, could have been worked out or should be worked out if there's still time.
Also very concerned that we find a way to avoid a conflict with Russia. And the first thing we've got to do is acknowledge that Putin's basic point, not just his point, the Russian government's point, which they've made for 25 years, is valid. They don't want U.S. forces and missiles and NATO troops immediately across the border in eastern Ukraine. Absolutely. We didn't want them in Cuba. He doesn't want them in eastern Ukraine. We should acknowledge that. Stop pretending that's a non-issue. It is a major issue for them. Let's acknowledge it. And let's get down to business and then tell them, fine, our concern at this point is we don't want you to proceed west towards the Polish border over the Dnieper River in Ukraine. In other words, you're going to go into eastern Ukraine. That's pretty obvious. That's what the troop disposition suggests. We understand it. We would prefer not, but ultimately we do understand your point. We acknowledge it. We are ready to neutralize Ukraine. Ukraine doesn't have to be in NATO. Neither does Georgia. And we can discuss those terms of neutrality. Now, if you will accept those terms, then let's talk about the other things that are important. The INF Treaty, making that relevant again. What about where troops are near borders and when they're not near borders and how they'll exercise? We can sort through all of that. We have refused to do this. And because we've refused it, we're going to watch as 130, 140,000 troops go into eastern Ukraine in the next few days. And there's not a damn thing we can do about it.